was always the Jags.
It's always the Jags. It's always the Jags.
Always the Jags.
Welcome into Always the Jags, your number one podcast for all things Jacksonville, all things Jaguars, all things Duval. Guys, we are living in the era of generational greatness. Now, that's probably a big fancy thing to say. Like, that probably seems a little extravagant, right? He did play the Jets, right? Trevor Lawrence had 6 touchdowns yesterday. 6. And I watched all of them in the stadium, where it was much hotter than we were expecting, but totally worth it. Trevor had 6 total touchdowns. 3 to Travis Etienne. Rush for 1 on 3rd and 13. And the throw off platform when he had a defender in his face to Parker Washington on 3rd and 10. Like, this is why you pay a quarterback $55 million a year, right? Like, we are winning games because of Trevor's ability to extend and make plays right now. And also that ferocity that Liam Cohen has infected the entire team. For the first half of the season, a large part of the season, we were winning games because our defense was playing ferociously, and so was all of our blocking. We had a very physical presence that was allowing us to win games. And now Trevor is finally like caught up to everybody else, and he's just laying it all out the line and using all the athletic traits that God blessed him with to put us in games and to win. And again, it's the Jets, right? So it's like, temper expectations. It's not that great. Let's see him do it against a good team. Well, he did. Remember, he beat the Chiefs. Remember, he beat the 49ers. Close games, good teams, he beat them. And what are you supposed to do when you face a bad team? You're supposed to blow them out. The Rams saw the Cardinals last week, 45 to 17. So the Jaguars saw the Jets, 48 to 20. We dropped 48 points on them. I haven't been at a game where we dropped that many. Well, first of all, I've never been at a game where we've dropped that many points. I haven't seen the Jaguars drop that many points in a game since 2017, and even then, I think the highest we got to was 45. It was insane. Like, if the game versus Indianapolis, if the game versus the Colts was the Duval downpour, this is the Duval death strike, death bomb, death star, because we just annihilated them. I mean, the game was never closer in hand. There was a couple moments where the Jets were making plays. When it was 14-7, I was a little bit like, not really. This might be more of a dogfight than I really wanted. I wanted it to be a blowout, and I was like, this is more of a dogfight than I really wanted. No, and then we just kind of pulled away, and then just said, yeah, no, this. We're gonna win this game. We're gonna win this game. You guys are not winning this game. Defense came in heavily with 3 sacks, 2 interceptions, 3 sacks and 3 picks. Again, playing well. Allowing the Jets to score 20 points with an undrafted rookie. Again, it's kind of a lot of points, but I'm pretty sure they pulled out a lot of starters by the time that last touchdown happened. And again, you win the football game. So, like, doesn't really matter. Jets got helped out by a couple of penalties here and there. But either way, this was an absolute thrashing. And that's what we needed it to be. Remember, we were looking at this like this could have been a trap game, right? And the Jaguars could have escaped with a win. They could have squeaked by with a win or been comfortable with a win. And instead, we just blew them out. BTA all day. And because like the game against the Panthers, we controlled that game. They never really threatened, but we controlled it, and we made sure it was favorable to us. This game was 10 times worse than that. It was a blowout in the truest fashion, and Trevor Lawrence is becoming that guy right before our eyes. Now, the test is going to be the Broncos. That is going to be the ultimate litmus test for how far has Trevor come in Liam Cohen's offense, because I'm not saying he has to go out and win, right? But it's so funny when you look at the national media and the conversations, right? Because you look at Trevor Lawrence having 6 touchdowns against the Jets, right? something that no quarterback has ever had 5 rushing touchdowns, 50 rushing yards, and 5 passing touchdowns in one game. Not even Lamar Jackson, the rushing touchdown aficionado. Not even Josh Allen. And Trevor Lawrence did it. And everybody's first thought is, oh, well, it's the Jets. Oh, well, it's the Jets. Okay, Josh Allen played them twice a year. He's never done this to them. He played them twice a year for the past 5 years. He's never done this to them. Any other team that's played the Jets this year, no one has done this to him. If it's just the Jets, why isn't every quarterback putting up 5 touchdowns and 6 and another rushing touchdown? And again, you don't have to announce Trevor as the crown prince, but like a bunch of fans started going after Richard Sherman. I saw on X just now, and they were asking him like, "Are you seeing it now? Are you seeing the generational talent now?" Like again, consistency is still a big thing for him that we need to see. But are you at least seeing the generational talent? Because your whole thing back in 23 was, yeah, Trevor's supposed to be this generational guy, but I'm not really seeing it. So is doing something no quarterback has ever done in the history of football? Is that enough to see it for you? And his response, no, I don't really need to watch Jacksonville. They haven't proven anything to me. Win a playoff game and then we'll talk. Okay, Richard, fuel that same disrespect. The disrespect is still here. It doesn't matter what we do, the Jaguars will continue to be disrespected. You don't have to anoint us as the winners of the AFC now. You don't have to anoint us as even that we're going to win the division, because that's still up for grabs. But just to say that there's no reason to watch us, or that there's no reason to believe in us right now with all the things that we are doing and accomplishing, all the things that Trevor Lawrence is doing and accomplishing. Yeah, okay, Richard Sherman. I see you, I hear you, and I raise you one playoff win. Because we are going to the playoffs. There's no doubt about that. I still don't want to play the Texans, though. As good as Trevor Lawrence has looked over these past 2 games, I still don't want to play the Texans. Now, the Texans have never had to go against Trevor Lawrence and Brian Thomas Jr., and they've been really clicking these last few weeks. His first touchdown was to Brian Thomas Jr. He had a big... Trevor wasn't afraid to take deep shots to Brian Thomas. He was connecting more of them against the Colts. A couple of the ones here was kind of good defense. They got broken up. He wasn't able to connect, but I think he connected on a couple of deep shots. It was either 1, maybe 2 to Brian Thomas Jr. Obviously, his throw of the game was the one to Parker Washington. Off platform, falling backwards with the defender in his face. Everyone in the stadium, we all thought he was just throwing the ball away. And then we just see Parker Washington come. And I'm literally sitting there in the stadium going, no way, no way, no way. And he catches it, and I lose my freaking mind. Lost it right there. Like I looked like I was having a seizure. It was that crazy to watch in person. So the Jaguars are rolling. And again, this is the big test for Liam Cohen. And this is a big testament and a test to how far we've come as a franchise. Because remember, Doug Peterson's first season was good too, right? Liam Cohen's enjoying a better first season than Doug Peterson had, because when Doug Peterson took over, Liam Cohen took over a much better team than Doug Peterson did. Let's make that very clear. I think Liam Cohen is going to be a better coach and better for what we need, for what our players need, because that fire in him is so contagious. But in having Tony Baselli in the building, and James Gladstone knows how to make moves, man. But I think, and he knows how to draft. But I do think there's no doubt Liam Cohen took over a better team than Doug Peterson did. But it's still going to be Liam Cohen's job to keep this going, to not have the same letdown in 23 the way Doug Peterson did. And again, Trevor Lawrence, clowning him, trashing him, not the future, not the guy, bust. Yeah, he hasn't lit it up, as many number 1 overall picks have done, But let's just compare to some of the past number 1 overall picks right now. Because we want to compare Trevor to the top of the NFL, and I think that's the thing. We do that a lot, and it's like, yeah, I get it. And he's like, he can play with the best of them. Don't forget, this guy has taken down Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, only guy left on his Mount Rushmore is Joe Burrow that he hasn't been able to take down in a football game yet. So he's played with the best of them. But if you look at the Jaguars and who they faced, if you look at the past number one overall picks, right? Okay. 2024, Caleb Williams. Having a great season, and Caleb Williams did beat Trevor Lawrence head to head last season, right? And this looks like it's going to be the Bears. It looks like it's going to be a good season for Caleb Williams, but he's still too early to really compare his career to Trevor's. Like, he's having the 2022, he's having his sophomore year, the sophomore year that Trevor had. Huge resurgence, a lot better touchdown interception ratio. 2023, Bryce Young looks like he's finally starting to put it together, and then it kind of falls off, and then he does, and then he doesn't. He's like a roller coaster. Hard to really like pin him down exactly how good he is. 22, obviously, Trevor Walker. 21, obviously, Trevor Lawrence. 2020, Joe Burrow. Now, obviously, the number one thing is Joe Burrow has been to the mountain. He's been to the Super Bowl, to the top of the mountain, you know. His first season with the Bengals, losing season. Second season with the Bengals, winning season, went to the Super Bowl. It's pretty insane. Next season, again, didn't go to the Super Bowl, but went to the playoffs, pretty deep in it. 2023, got hurt, Bengals have a losing season. 2024, defense is bad. Joe Burrow looks like an MVP comeback player. They still have a losing season. 2025, gets hurt, Bengals still have a losing season. So one Super Bowl trip, one playoff run, 3 losing seasons. Trevor Lawrence, bad rookie year, 1 playoff run, no Super Bowl appearance, yes, but 22 was a playoff run. Winning season, no playoff run in 23. 24, got hurt, losing season. So if you're going to forgive Joe Burrow, basically, if you're going to forgive Joe Burrow for the losing seasons when he's got hurt, then you got to forgive Trevor for the losing season when he got hurt, right? And now Trevor's on his way to deliver us our 3rd winning season since we've drafted him. How many winning seasons has Joe Burrow given the Bengals since they drafted him? And at the end of the day, I mean, wins and losses make a difference, right? Your record overall. But again, having a winning season versus not a winning season is a difference in the culture. And as a Jags fan who endured, I'll say it over and over and over again, my first football game was Bears-Colts Super Bowl. And I have endured 10 losing seasons. We had 1 good one, and then we went 5 more. So for Trevor to deliver us our 3rd, our first season of double-digit wins since 2017, and what will probably be our first 11-win season since the 90s? I don't know, 2005, 2006, 2007. I can't remember how many games we won that stretch. And maybe our first 12-win season since the 90s. If it was our first 12-win season, it would definitely be since the 90s. So, let's be grateful that this man is on our team, right? Like, you know, they ask the question all the time, and it's like, yeah, you could get a Jaden Daniels or a Drake May if you were to, like, get rid of Trevor. If this regime was like, Trevor's not the guy. But you could also get a Trey Lance or Mac Jones or Zach Wilson or Sam Darnold, where you're not really able to do anything with him until he goes to 2 different franchises, and then he becomes a starter for a team that's not yours. That's not the one that drafted him, right? So I'm not willing to take that risk and move on from Trevor. I've been a believer. I think he's shown enough. He's just got to work the mistakes out of his game. And I refuse to believe that the mistakes are part of the Trevor Lawrence experience. And these 3 games have showed us that. And so if anything, now Liam Cohen needs to look at Trevor and look at this stretch of games. Yeah, it went against defenses. Again, the defenses, Titans, Colts, Jets, not exactly the 85 Bears, right? But Liam Cohen needs to look at this and see, like, look at how you can play mistake-free football. You have it in your genes. You've proven that you can do it. It's just, can you do it consistent enough where we can continue to win? Because this year we won in spite of a lot of mistakes that Trevor made. You know, in the Cardinals game, 4 picks. That's not good. Yeah. but we still won. And I'm not going to count the pick in the Chiefs game because that was a bad call by the ref. But, and then Trevor had that one pick in the end zone with the Bengals game, pick in the red zone against the Raiders, you know. And I don't know if he's seeing the field better or seeing the scheme better. Honestly, it's probably just Jacoby Myers. And what did I say how to fix Trevor Lawrence? What did I tell you to do? When we look at 22, he had receivers playing roles. So when he knew what he wanted to do, he knew exactly what receiver to hit, and he could rely on him to do the thing that he wanted to do in the moment. Zay Jones was the stretch the field guy. Christian Kirk was the slot receiver guy who could get open down the field or in the middle of the field, but you could throw it into a tight window and let his hands do the work, throw it to where he's going to be, and he's going to be there. And Marvin Jones was kind of like that possession type receiver. And what is working for Trevor right now? Parker Washington has become a do-it-all receiver, right? But he's working in and splitting with Tim Patrick and being that possession receiver. And Tim Patrick is that big body receiver, right? Brian Thomas Jr. Liam Cohen turned him into Zay Jones from 2022. He just said, Brian, run down the field. Give me a skinny post or give me a go route. Those are your two routes right there. You can do don't move and shake a guy off or whatever you want to do, but go down the field. Just go down the field. Stretch the defense. Keep them honest. In our running game, and we'll be able to hit shots over the middle. And Jacoby Myers is playing the Christian Kirk role perfectly. And again, because we are at a point where Liam Cohen has inherited a better team, I think we can get a better deal on the Jacoby Myers. Like, we had to pay Christian Kirk $18 million to leave the Cardinals to come here to try to jumpstart Trevor Lawrence. $18 million a year. And he was worth it, right? Because we got a lot of good plays and a lot of good out of Trevor from that. So that deal was not a bad deal that he got released, after 2 seasons. But now with Jacoby Myers, I honestly think we could sign him for $13 million a year and his agent would take it. And I think Jacoby Myers would want to stay in Jacksonville for that. And that's what happens when you become a good franchise. You don't have to continue to overpay for guys. When people see that culture, they see the team, they see the quarterback playing well, they want to come play there, and you no longer have to shell out $6 million more than the next other team per year in order to get a guy to come here. And I think, and trading for Jacoby Myers helps too, because we got a chance to look at him and let him play. And now he's incentivized to play for us too, because now he wants that contract that's going to give him stability. And so I really do think he would take a $13 million a year. I think Devin Lloyd has definitely earned himself a $17 million a year. And Travis Etienne, I think we need to offer him the James Cook deal. I was going to say a little bit less, but after a 3-touchdown day, I think you give Travis Etienne the James Cook deal, maybe a little bit more guaranteed. And I think you say you want to keep playing with Trevor. It'll give you $12 million a year. Maybe 13. It's hard to pay because it's hard paying running backs. But to me, James Cook should be the comp for Travis Etienne. So yeah, I mean, obviously it was an over-round thrashing, and now here we are at the Broncos. And basically everything that could have went wrong for us in that Broncos-Packers game did, because the Packers weren't really able to expose the Broncos, and then the Packers ended up leaving that game and getting hurt. And they lost, I think, their starting wide receiver. They lost their Micah Parsons. So that game, they probably just wish they never played it, right? And now we have to go into Denver and try to do what the Green Bay Packers couldn't do and beat Denver instead of following the blueprint. So that's not going to be easy for us, especially because the Green Bay Packers are used to being a cold weather team and used to playing in the cold weather. And now we're going to have to go over there. But look, we are still being disrespected by the NFL. And also, if we want the AFC South, we kind of got to go win this game. We kind of got to go into Denver and beat them, because the Texans are hot on our heels. They are not slowing down. They terrorized the Cardinals. The Raiders are up next. Then they got the Chargers, who are surprisingly putting up strong performances after they just knocked the Chiefs out of the playoffs. And Patrick Mahomes is going to be hurt, looks like, for a whole year. But we have to go into Denver, and we have to show them that we're not to be messed with anymore. And I think I can't really, like, it's like keys to Denver. It was limit Bo Nix, right? Because their defense is fantastic. It's going to be hard to do anything against that. Obviously they've got, lockdown corners. Brenton Strange was going to be a big part of that Denver game, because if he can open holes in the run game and catch passes. Like, we're not going to get any deep shots on that Broncos defense. We're not going to take big plays. Like, Trevor's not going to go for 6 touchdowns, right? But, if you can kind of dink and dunk your way in the field, they like to play bend but don't break, and hit you with that pressure. And if we can accept that and take what they give us and move down the field, stay patient, we can maybe score some points on them. And then to limit their offense, the way to beat the Broncos is only to limit their offense. And the best way to limit their offense is to get pressure on Bo Nix, obviously with every quarterback, but take away his running game as well and make him beat you through the air with his receivers. And I always thought that this year it wasn't necessarily that Bo Nix wasn't playing well or that he wasn't good. It was mainly that his receivers, he just didn't really have like big dynamic receivers. And because the Broncos offensive line is pretty good too. Pretty good. The running game has really struggled though since what's his name? J.K. Dobbins went out. So to me, the key for us to beat the Broncos was a strong run game, obviously. But also, again, force Bo Nix to beat you through the air. But then he just did that to the Packers by throwing some incredible passes on a 4-touchdown day for him. So, obviously, the Jaguars have a lot to overcome. The Jaguars obviously have a lot to overcome. And, yeah, no, this game is going to be tough. There's no doubt about it. And a lot of people are probably going to be picking us to lose. And I think it's just as simple as, do you want the division? Then go get it. And I think we'll see. Pat Surtain might line up across from Jacoby Myers just because how comfortable he is. And they might be content to double team Brian Thomas with Riley Moss and a safety over the top. And again, that would really open up Brenton Strange, and that would really open up Parker Washington or Tim Patrick on the other side. So there's ways where, however they line up their secondary, there's ways we could take advantage of it. Because again, Brian Thomas Jr., if Pat Surtain decides to line up against him, and they double Jacoby Myers with Riley Moss and another safety, again, it still would open things up for Parker Washington. It also would allow Brian Thomas to use his speed as an advantage against Pat Surtain. Maybe on a double move or just a straight go route speed. Just to, if you're able to get a straight crossing route down the field, and make Pat Surtain run with you, stride for stride, you can maybe even tire him out. Because that speed, the best cornerbacks in the NFL, not all of them have that speed. It's one of those things that's hard to teach. So, let me know your thoughts about this game, what the Jaguars can and can't do against the Broncos. How do you feel about us absolutely thrashing the Jets and what's to come forward? And don't ever forget, it was always the Jags.